Thank you, Shu, for your very interesting comments, and thank you for the question and the suggestion by Anne and by Joao. So for the first comment about the counterintuitive result that we found, while it is true that GFC is demand-driven and COVID is supply-driven, something that is sometimes overlooked by macroeconomists, not by international trade economists, is that during both this recession, these global shocks, we have a collapse of trade. So in both cases, the trade collapse, and we have a V-shaped recovery for trade. So of course, the trade collapse may be not similar, but at least you have a trade collapse in both instances. So that's also a common denominator between the both crises. So, for example, we had in the appendix, maybe it's in working paper, not in the version that we sent, but we had some regression for developing versus emerging markets. And what we saw, we used the excessive credit measure from the BIS. And what we saw is that during GFC, for advanced economy, it was a very good predictor of the probability of entering into a crisis. So we had a lot of, maybe we should put them into appendix more clearly. So, and in the same time, the GFC recession was not so much spread into emerging markets. It was very short. And so I take your comment. I would say, yes, it's bizarre to have a shorter recession and having, so maybe it's a problem of interpretation of which country has been impacted by the GFC, which has been much more severe for the advanced economies and highly financialized economies. But we are going to work on that, and we are going to discuss with the co-author to see if we can have a more convincing interpretation. So what I would say is that the level of financial development is very important. Probably if you have trade restriction, but in the same time you have a capital account restriction, it may play into a non-linear pattern, meaning that you will be protected by the trade collapse because you don't have a financial volatility. But if you have both, it will be problematic. But so I agree with you. It's a bit counterintuitive, but I would nuance that by saying maybe the differences into the financial development may explain this bizarre result because it acts like an isolation from the trade collapse that we observed during GFC and more, you're right, it's more describing a supply driven recession and during COVID. So we are going to do that and doing maybe different subsample exercise. We can do that. We have the codes, everything is ready to do that. So we're going to explore and hopefully the results will be stable. We will see, but we will see. We cannot guess before running the code. So I get your point about being more clearly distinguished with two types of crisis, which is populate 1/3 of a recession. So we cannot ignore your point, Shu. About the overlapping, the way in which we have computed the recoveries, what you are describing is a case of a double dip recession. It means that you have a recession and then you will have in the future a double dip recession. We have that because if you look at, it's in the slide, sometimes you have a recovery after 8 quarters which is negative. It means that you have a double dip recession, so we remove the double dip recession and we test and everything is fine. So we have over the 490 cases of recession, we have 15 cases of double dip recession. One of them is Ukraine, starting from 2015. Yeah. So that's a very good point. At the time, I think it's Hirohito told me that you should check that. So you have the same same comment, but euro. So thank you very much, Shu. We are going to try to improve the paper in the direction that you mentioned. I think that's very good. If I may answer to the question from the floor, and I think the comment of Anne and Joao are quite similar, distinguishing the nature of the shock, supply-driven, demand-driven, and the configuration for the policymaker, because volatility of output was much lower before the GFC. So recession, if you have a recession at that time, it means that you are not be very skillful, or the economy have very big problems. And after the GFC, you have a lot of volatility, a lot of uncertainty. So